There are no secrets to success, just things you haven't learned yet. And once you learn them, it's up to you to apply them. I'm Jamaal, aka Boss Eagle, Billboard-charting hip-hop artist and music business coach. Join me as we talk digital marketing, social media, technology, and more, and share interviews with industry professionals to help you unlock the secrets and take control of your music career. Because we are the new music business, and this is the Indie Musician Secrets Podcast. What's up, and welcome to the Indie Musician Secrets Podcast. I am your host, Jamaal, aka Boss Eagle, Billboard-charting hip-hop artist and music business coach here at Business Minded Musicians. I want to welcome you to today's episode where we're going to be talking about how to sell more tickets as an indie artist. We got 7 ways that we're going to be talking about how to sell more tickets as an indie artist to your shows. But before we jump into that, I just want to remind you that you can listen to the podcast on all of your favorite platforms. You can also download as well if you want to download and take it on the go. And also, please remember to rate and review, especially on Apple Podcasts. Give us that 5-star review. That would be great and helpful in terms of moving the podcast forward. But without further ado, we're going to jump right into today's topic, where we are talking about 7 ways to sell more tickets as an indie artist. Today's topic is actually from a blog post on the Bandzoogle blog. So thank you to our friends over at Bandzoogle. This was a blog post by Melanie Kealey. So again, thank you to Bandzoogle for all that you do in terms of helping independent artists. I'll leave a link to the article in the show notes in the description if you want to check out the full article. But basically, what we're talking about in terms of how to sell more tickets as an indie artist, this probably isn't so much for, say, festivals or when you're playing traditional type venues where you're on the bill. This is more so, let's say, if you're renting a venue, you're doing a house show, etc. The times when you're selling tickets directly. And we know that selling tickets is extremely important because you want a good turnout. So doing some of these things can definitely be beneficial in terms of helping you market and promote those shows, and also help you take more control of the process, because that's ultimately what we're in it to do as independent artists, is to have more control over our music careers. Let's get started with those 7 ways of how to sell more tickets as an indie artist. Number 1, set up a website with events. I think this goes without saying, and your artist website, according to the article, should be the first thing that pops up when someone Googles your music, and I absolutely agree. So you want to make sure that you're consistently adding and updating your events on your site, and make sure that your fans are aware of the times and the dates, all the information about when you're playing. Add your dates onto your website as soon as they're confirmed, and sell tickets directly through your website. You can also offer tickets for free through your website if you'd like to host an event, like they suggest, like a house concert where people can maybe pay at the door, but you still want an RSVP in advance. That's important because you want to be able to tell the host what to expect. You want to be able to know how many people might be coming to your show. The other point with setting up a website is you want to make sure that your events are also showing up in search engine results. And this gets into a little bit more into the weeds with like the technical aspects with SEO and things like that, but making sure that Google kind of is able to recognize some of those search engine optimization aspects, and kind of can display some it says a carousel of events for your shows. So this does get a little bit more advanced, but I think the important thing is to make sure that you have a website up. This is something that I harp on a lot. That should be your main hub where everything lives. So I think the main point here is to make sure you have a website up and have your events there with the information and how they can get tickets to that event. If you don't have a website, if you want a new website, you can certainly get one through Bandzoogle. They are a web hosting platform by musicians for musicians. So it's a great option for independent artists. If you want to get a website through Bandzoogle, you can get a 30-day free trial plus 15% off the first year on any plan. Just go to Bandzoogle, use the code BizMindedMusic, get a 30-day free trial and 15% off your first year on any plan with that code. Or you can go to bandzoogle.bizmindedmusic.com and it'll automatically apply that code for you. All right, number 2, make use of video. I think we can all agree that video is powerful, and you don't want to underestimate and understate using video to promote your music, including selling tickets to your shows. you want to get more people out to your shows. So create music videos that can display your live performance. If you can line up a videographer to film at a show and edit different clips, that's awesome. I've done that as well, because then people can see what to expect. And then you want to add those videos to your website, put it on your homepage, on the EPK page, if you have a show page as well, anywhere that people can see it. And then, keep your videos in mind as you prepare to go on the road. If you're going to go tour or anything like that, you can use some more, polished clips, as the article puts it, to sell tickets. And then use some of the other video for kind of like word of mouth and organic sharing, posted on social media, that type of stuff. If you can get video of your live shows, I would say start doing it as soon as possible, and utilizing those clips to promote your music, your shows, and who you are as an artist or a band. All right, number 3, use social media. If you know me, you know that I am not a big fan of social media, but I also understand it is very helpful in terms of getting your music out there and showing people what you can do. So make sure you're using social media to promote your shows as well. So I know that a lot of times I talk about here running ads and stuff. I know that gets more advanced, but if that's something that you do want to get into and start doing, consider doing that to reach a wider audience. You can also definitely do the organic way of using social media and just continuing to grind that out as well. So either way you go, whether you want to run ads or just continue to go organic or do a little bit of both, just make sure that you kind of, using those social media efforts to sell tickets to your shows. You can also create a Facebook event, the article says, invite your fans and your friends, give them a link to share as well. I'm not active on TikTok, but I know that could also be a great option as well. Instagram as well, depending on where your demographic is, invest some effort there, do some live streams, make sure that you're utilizing the link in your bio and any relevant content to make your followers more aware of upcoming shows. So the last point here they talk about is you can also run social media ads to boost views on your posts. And I want to just make it clear that what this is not saying is boosting posts. And there is a difference between boosting a post and running an ad. What this article is saying is to run ads just to boost the views. Personally, I'm not a fan of boosting posts. And so the idea here again is we're trying to increase engagement on our posts, and one of the ways we can do that is by running ads. So it says that some musicians use social media to run contests to upcoming shows. You could think about doing something like that, but just remember that the goal is selling tickets. So make sure that you're communicating clearly to your fans how they can do that. If it's entering a contest, if it's doing something, if it's a scavenger hunt or whatever it is, just make sure that they know exactly what the details are around that. Number 4 of the 7 ways to sell more tickets as an indie artist is to use your mailing list. And the article suggests that this may seem like a given, but to not overlook that it is a trusted way to sell more tickets. And I would wholeheartedly agree with that. However, the thing that I would add to it, the one caveat, is I don't think a lot of independent artists have an email list to begin with. They're not using an autoresponder or even have an email marketing list. You should not be using your Gmail account to communicate with your fans. Now, with one-off type of things, sure, you can email them directly from your main email if that's what you want to do. But in terms of your overall communication and marketing, you should be using an email marketing system. If you do have a mailing list, it's likely that it's your best source of loyal fans. Those are the people who've given you that email address. They want to be involved and up to date with what you're doing. And it may be from people that signed up at previous shows, or maybe they signed up on your website or whatever. But this could be a great way to sell tickets to those folks and let them know about shows that are coming up. You can offer even maybe a discount code for those folks who are on your list, something special, or maybe some type of exclusive, as kind of a reward for their loyalty. What I would say here is email can be a great way to notify your fans, but before you do that, make sure you have an email list set up. And it doesn't matter if you want to use MailChimp, Constant Contact, ConvertKit, Aweber, whatever. Just make sure you have something set up so that you're able to market and communicate through email effectively to your fans. Number 5 is leverage local media. The article suggests that it's easy to reach a large number of followers and fans through the internet, but there's something to be said for concentrating on local media. And if you think about it, local media a lot of times has a pulse on what's happening. A lot of local radio stations and local outlets tend to have a dedicated support base. These avenues reach people who are more interested in supporting events that are happening in their community, and they'll buy tickets to shows and things that they know are coming up because they trust that local, community radio DJ or the person who's on that local TV station or whatever, right? So to help local media promote your project, as the article suggests, you want to create an EPK that's focused on media outreach. So include assets that journalists and reporters will need to profile your music and, cover your show. The dates you're looking to promote should be clear. Make sure you include high-res photos with a succinct bio that describes your performance, and have some videos to make it easy for them to report on your upcoming show. Take a bit of time to research relevant media that covers music in the areas that you'll be playing in. So this could be local papers, blogs with event listings. It could be community television. It might even be a local podcast. Consider leveraging local media to sell more tickets to your shows. All right, number 6, use a landing page. And in case you're not familiar with what a landing page is, it's not like a full website where you have all these different links and navigation, all that stuff. A landing page is literally what it says. It's a page for people to land on. And what you want to do with a landing page is typically one thing. You're trying to get your visitor to take one action. That could be to download something, to give an email. So a landing page is typically dedicated to, one call to action for the visitor, one thing you want them to do. So whether you're looking to reach a new audience or connect with current fans, you can use a landing page to direct attention to your event. You could have a landing page for your show. You could also make multiple landing pages, kind of like one per show, to drive traffic to the pages to convert visitors into buyers. So you could literally make a landing page for each stop on your tour or each show that you're having. And that's great because what's happening is you're able to see who's interacting with which landing page, right? If you have like 50 landing pages and you see that Bob Johnson buys tickets on 37 of them, well, Bob Johnson might be a super fan. He might be a stan, but he might be a super fan. Or you can kind of see, maybe what's converting and what's working well and do more of that. Okay, lastly, number 7 is optimize for mobile. And I think that this one is probably more important than what meets the eye at surface level. With all the effort that you're putting into selling tickets, you want to make sure that it's actually easy to buy on mobile. And the reason that is because nowadays, the majority of people who are doing any type of click-through, most people are interacting and making transactions on their phone, right? So the cart, the checkout experience, all that, they have to be, seamless to make sure that they can get their tickets with ease, right? So if your process isn't working well on mobile, a lot of buyers might abandon the transaction and just move on. They'll just say, well, it's not working. There must be something wrong. So make sure you test everything that you have set up, everything from your social ads, your video, your web pages. Make sure everything is looking good on mobile. So I'll even do this with my merch site, even though I'm doing the build out on desktop, because it's easier to do it that way with a keyboard and stuff, but it has the option to view it in mobile, and you want to make sure that it's easily accessible and that it's easy to use on mobile. Remember that selling tickets to your shows as an indie artist, it takes some hard work. It's going to take some repetition. You're going to have to continue to do it over and over. So just make sure you start promoting early. Don't be afraid to encourage your fans to buy tickets as well, because they want to support you too. Don't think that it always has to be new people every time. Yes, that's obviously what we want to do, and that's why I would say going back to running ads and stuff is a great thing, because that helps you broaden your reach. But don't be afraid to ask those folks who enjoy your live performance to buy tickets as well, and ask them to invite a friend to buy a ticket or two as well. The action item for today's episode is I want you to choose one of the 7 options to focus on for your next show. So if you do have a house show coming up, or you're renting out a venue or a space, or maybe you're not renting it, you're getting it for free, or maybe you're doing a backyard concert at a friend's house or whatever, focus on one of these things to really kind of help boost those ticket sales. And then for those of you out there who are like, I don't have any shows coming up where I'm directly selling tickets, or maybe I don't do that at all. I don't do house shows, or I don't rent out venue spaces to sell tickets. That's totally fine too. Even if you're not doing that, I want you to think about how you could implement one of these ways for a traditional gig, right? So maybe it's focusing on that email list to let them know about the show that's coming up. Maybe you haven't been doing that. Maybe it's contacting local media. Maybe you haven't ever reached out to local radio stations, community radio stations, campus radio stations, local papers and trades, or maybe even local TV to let them know about this show that you have coming up. Or maybe it's using a landing page. Maybe you've got a website, but you've never used a landing page before that's specifically designed, again, for like that one call to action to collect email addresses or to promote your show. So again, thank you to Bandzoogle for this wonderful blog post on 7 ways to sell more tickets as an indie artist. I'll include the link to the blog post in the description in the show notes if you want to read through that. Also, if you have any questions or if there's any topics you'd like to have covered on the show, you can email me at questions@indiemusiciansecrets.com. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast. I would greatly appreciate that. And as always, please feel free to share this episode and any episode with anyone that you think it would be beneficial for. I am passionate about helping independent artists take control of their music career because we are the new music business. All right. So thanks again for listening. God bless, and I'll see you when I see you. Peace. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to follow the Indie Musician Secrets podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen, and make sure to leave us a rating and review. Also, share this episode with other indie musicians you think it would be beneficial for. And for more helpful resources to help you grow your music business, visit us at businessmindedmusicians.com. I hope this episode has served you. We'll talk to you on the next episode.